Welcome to the Wildcast podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Welcome into Wildcast Studios for our 5th annual mock draft episode of the Wildcast podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats, presented by Alpha's Appliance Solution, the premier destination for appliances and storage solutions in Moncton. Right now, they've got the Whirlpool Maytag Summer Kitchen Suite Savings Event. Save $150 when you purchase any 2 or $300 when you purchase any 3 or more qualifying Maytag or Whirlpool kitchen appliances from now till June 19th. As always, fan listeners, I am your host, Adam London. I am joined by your favorite co-hoster, Mr. Jeremy Boucher. What a couple weeks it's been for you there, sir.
Quite a ride.
Yeah.
Quite a ride for sure. Lots of moving and shaking, and got all settled into the
moving and shaking and spending money.
That's that too. Got all settled into the new pad, and we're enjoying our first week as homeowners.
It's amazing how buying a home, they don't tell you how much money you must spend to buy a home. It's like, oh, we just got to pay our first mortgage payment. Oh, cool. No, plus, and then plus, and then plus, and then plus. And how was the move?
It was actually pretty good. I got to give a shout out to Bargain Movers who helped us, get from point A to point B, and they managed to get all of our belongings at the old place loaded onto the truck and unloaded at the new place under 4 hours.
Yeah, that's about right.
And we managed to get everything unpacked on that Thursday. So we had last Friday to kind of just chill out and enjoy some adult pops and just enjoy life and relax. It has been. I'm exhausted. I am so tired. It was a lot of work. There's been a lot of visits, a lot of people coming over, a lot of late nights, a lot of hockey.
A lot of hockey. Thank God hockey's a little bit earlier.
Yeah. And we got a couple days off without hockey, so we can recharge the batteries and get some couple good nights rest.
Yeah, I obviously, as I'm in my 06 championship Stanley Cup final and conference hat that I've had in many moves and many of houses, it has stayed with me. I will say though, like as nice as it is to have the Oilers playing at 9 o'clock our time and 8 o'clock when I was Ontario, I actually felt more rested when they were playing at 11 because I could come home, have some dinner, have a 2-hour nap from 8:30 till 10:30-ish, get up. I've already got 2 hours in, and then the next 6, it's a full 8-hour sleep. Now at 9, I'm like, well, I'm up till 12, and then usually when they lose, I went to bed. If they won, I would stay up and watch all the pregame, which again, Layla's like, why do you watch the pregame? You just watch the game. Because I want to hear the answers. But yeah, it's 18 years. My daughter was 2 the last time the Oilers went to the Stanley Cup final, which we both predicted. I may have not thought they were going to get there. 2-9, 30th in the league. And it's been it's aside from Riker, this city has been unbelievable to me. The Bucks won a Super Bowl and then got to the NFC Championship game. The Braves won the World Series. The Oilers are now in the Stanley Cup Finals. We may never leave. And let's be honest, the Wildcats were going to win the Memorial Cup in 2020. It's been a ride in the 6 years I've been here, and I have no plans of leaving, especially if my teams keep winning. I just had to move out of Alberta to make that happen. You are in your Blue Jays jersey.
I am.
I have mine.
Oh yeah, the free one you got.
The free one, the Jordan Romano. It's pretty much press on letters. It's not bad, but hey,
nothing authentic at all.
It's free.
It's free.
And like I said, when we go down to Tampa, I can wear my Jays jersey in Tampa as the Jays are playing the Devil Rays. But it was a good game. I didn't get to see Romano. I wasn't all that upset because it was a daytime game. So the roof was open. It was fucking hot. We were first base, second level, so the sun was like
beaming
office.
down.
No, it was office for a while. But then at about the 5th inning, it hit the knees and then just started to come up. And you just, we walked around the concourse just to see all this kind of stuff they had and get some air conditioning and kind of get away from things. But yeah, it was a busy trip. It was a fun trip. It's much better to pay gas at $1.62 or 58, or on the reservation $1.43, and then $1.39 near Belleville. Yeah, so we went from here, Lévis, Quebec at Costco, Belleville the reservation, drove around, came back. Belleville reservation, $139. We got 1,000 kilometers to an empty tank of gas.
Crap.
1,055 in the Escape. Hashtag not a sponsor. And then stopped in Lévis again at the hotel and filled up at Costco. So on your way to Ontario, Jeremy, if you go through Lévis, hit the Costco.
Well, I think we're driving through the States. We're
You're going to go States this time?
The same route we took to go to Sherbrooke, and then just head up towards Montreal and do that area there. So I don't know if we'll get any Costco's but the gas is cheaper in the States, so we'll take advantage of that.
When are you going again? July?
Leaving July the 20th.
That's exciting. You going to a Jays game? Any tickets?
Hoping to go to a Jays game.
And by hoping you mean because you can have time to go, or because they don't suck and you're going to go?
There is a moment in the schedule that we can fit in an afternoon game. So we might just do that and put my Rogers 50% discount on tickets to good use.
That's a perfect discount. Layla's got a friend that uses that same discount for tickets. So it's the best way to go see a Blue Jays game. I think that's kind of it. MasterChef kicked off. Have you started it?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, there's only been one episode, so it's the generations: Boomers, Millennials, Gen Zs, all that stuff. So, and then Amazing Race this summer. No, it starts this summer.
Oh yes,
another one.
Yeah.
So
Amazing Race Canada.
Yes, they were in New Brunswick allegedly.
Yeah, they were in Miramichi from what I was told, and NHL. Oh my goodness, what's his name? Brad May.
Mayday, yeah.
Mayday is one of the guys. Him and his daughter.
Nice.
Are a team, and also.
Wait, he's Canadian?
I think yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm pretty sure it's Brad May. And then Kevin Martin, not the curler, who was on Big Brother Canada a few years back, is also on Amazing Race Canada.
Nice. So we got some New Brunswick representation at least. All right. Don't forget, as always, you can follow us on the social medias, and this is a perfect week to do that. Twitter, Moncton Wildcast, Instagram, Wildcast Podcast, TikTok, Wildcast Podcast, and of course, smash and subscribe to our YouTube. Don't forget to click the little bell so you're notified this Friday and Saturday at the Avenir Center when we go live. Not for the whole first round, but hey, we could jump in at some point if there's some movement. But as well, we'll have interviews with some of the newest members of our Moncton Wildcats. Let's get to some news and notes from around the queue.
News and notes from around the queue.
Brought to you by Integrity Lawn Care. Looking to do some spring cleanup, or I guess summer cleanup, and don't know where to start, or just don't want to do it yourself. They are accepting new clients right now. Give them a call at 506-866-8218 or email them at integritylawncare@hotmail.com. The Memorial Cup has a new home, sir. It resides south of the border.
It's a party in the USA.
It's a party in the USA for the first time since 2008 in Kitchener when the Spokane Chiefs won it. Saginaw Spirit won the Memorial Cup. And, I mean, you look back, quite the 2 weeks. I didn't give Saginaw any hope. I went back and listened to that. I was like, good luck, Saginaw. I mean, all three champions swept, which... we didn't think was going to bode well for them, but I mean, they played a perfect final. I didn't watch it, but I mean, first 0-3 for Drummondville. I picked them, and it's recency bias. Obviously, we follow the queue, and the way they handled Baie-Comeau, I didn't think that they were going to go 0-3.
It was definitely a bit of a surprise. I mean, if you look at the way the tournament was set up, there was going to be one team that was not going to be up to par, up to speed, and it just happened to be Drummondville. And
I mean, they outplayed Moose Jaw. The
the
goalie was good.
Yeah. Well, the nice part about Drummondville going 0-3 is that means the Wildcats' 2010 performance is no longer the last Q team to go 0-3 at the Memorial Cup. So we're no longer in the miserable record books of QMJHL performances at the Memorial Cup. Thank you, Drummondville, for that. I picked Moose Jaw when I saw them get to the semifinal. I was like, okay, they might actually have a chance to pull this off, but they got their asses kicked by Saginaw in the semifinal.
You almost had it though. I was like, you got to be kidding me! This guy's gonna hit it again.
Yeah.
Like,
but at that point, the funny thing is I think I sent it to you the morning after the first game of the Memorial Cup. The CHL sent an email out saying the Saginaw Spirit win the Memorial Cup. And I was just like, right? It's rigged. It was rigged from the get-go. So I think I still have that screenshot on my phone.
You did send that. I forgot about that. I was in Ontario for that.
Yeah, I think they might have missed a word into that.
Yeah, I think they were supposed to say like they won
opener,
the first game or opener or something.
Win their opener, but it just said win the Memorial Cup. I was like, yeah, it was that was the plan all along.
Yeah, that's whoops-a-daisy. But again, it'll be interesting to see where it goes in 2 years. And again, one of the major things is teams were allowed to fight there.
Yeah,
I did like the guy in the white suit being on the ice for the fight. Another cool angle. Not a fan of the interviews mid-game at center ice. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're trying something. Wasn't quite a fan of that, but be interesting to see what happens next year if it's no fighting allowed because it's in the queue. But again, that's a long way away, and let's just be thankful that the Oshawa Generals are not in the Quebec Major Junior League because they would run this league and they would win many, many titles according to someone.
That's according to
based off a 2-week tournament and 3 games. So a little bit of news before we got on the show. Former Moncton Wildcats general manager Richie Thibault is now the assistant general manager of Chicoutimi. So he has joined the enemy from this past playoffs. Mm-hmm. Got a few messages about like, he's just the assistant. He's only the assistant. At what point did you think he was going to supersede Yannick Jean, who's been there for a long time? And if you want to put two hockey minds together, these would be the top two that you could kind of put together going into a season.
Yeah, I think Richie's main responsibility will be if Chicoutimi has struggled with one thing over the course of recent time or as a whole, it's been recruiting maritime players.
Yeah.
So I really think Richie is going in there as an assistant general manager, knowing that he can help bring maritime players to Chicoutimi, that it's a good rink, that's a passionate fan base, a really good coach. They're going places.
Yeah.
He's going to an organization that has a chance to win. They could very well win next season, but I think they're the odds-on favorite the following year, and the following year, and probably the following year. So he has a chance to win, what could be back-to-back or back-to-back-to-back, championships. So he's going to a really good spot.
Their team with, obviously the 4 draft picks last year and the way they played. And I mean, if they get, if they're lucky enough to play the way they did and get to a final where Rimouski's in a final because they avoided them, well, guess what? They're headed to Rimouski in the Memorial Cup. So, and then the next year they're built to even be better that year. So, it's a perfect landing spot for them. Do you want to get into the trade rumors now, or do you want to have our guest and get into the trade rumors a little bit
let's
later?
Do our guest first, and then get that out of the way, and then get into the rumors and the draft stuff.
Sounds good. Let's get to our the view from the other bench.
View from the other bench.
Well, last year he was part of our draft live coverage leading into the draft from his place because he couldn't be in Sherbrooke, and we were devastated. So we thought this year, why don't we bring him on again when he's going to be here? He's going to be the host of the QMJHL draft on Eastlink both Friday night and Saturday. We've gone around the division to talk about each team. So now let's talk to the host of this, the man, the myth, the legend, living his gimmick, Mavs Gillis. Mavs, first of all, thanks for joining us with the draft in about 48 hours. I mean, what's your excitement level going into this, or is it just so much prep that you just kind of arrive at the day?
There's so much prep going on right now. Like, we're just coming off of 17 hours of track and field coverage from this past weekend, so going from one massive undertaking to another. But like the rumors, everything is already swirling. I mean, we've already heard that Cape Breton's looking at moving the pick and looking at Val-d'Or's looking to make some moves. Of course, walking into Moncton, where I think the biggest splash of the season's already been made by the Wildcats signing Gardner McDougall away from UND. Like, there's a lot of intriguing storylines going into this. So, plus, I mean, again, it's my first time being at the draft live and in person. I think the last time we covered the draft in person live was when it was at Cape Breton, and I'm going to guess 08, 09 when Logan Shaw got drafted. So that, like, this is going to be, we're really excited for this. I know we got Greg McDonald, Craig Eagles, and myself on the desk. Troy Langstaff's going to be around on the floor, talking to everybody, and we're doing both days. So, like, I'm used to the 3-hour, 4-hour run on night one, and it being a marathon. Now I'm looking forward to the 100-meter dash, which, you know, we just did a 100-meter dash. That is day 2 with everything going so fast and furious.
Obviously, with a different approach, you know, with the Friday night first round and the rest of the events going on Saturday, I believe things kick off at 8 p.m. on Friday. If I were to say 10:37 p.m., are you saying before or after as the finish time for the first round?
10:30. I think it's 7 p.m. The draft, or it could be 8. Yeah.
It's 8 p.m. our time, 7 Quebec time.
Is it 7?
No, it's 8 p.m. Atlantic time.
7. It's 8. Oh, geez. Yeah. Okay. All right. So 10:30. You know what? I'm going to say 11. I'm going to say we're getting out of there at 11.
Taking the over.
I'm taking the over. Yeah, I'll definitely take the over. Especially with it being a draft class where there is some question marks there, and I think we're going to see teams taking their time. We might hear that wonderful timeout music a couple times. Of course, we're going to see transaction flash across the screen a few times as well. I mean, the movements have already started to happen. So let's. I think we're in for a long one, and I've been told day 2, a lot of teams got a plane to catch. So we are going to be moving quick through day 2.
Interesting. Yeah, because it's kicking off at 9:30 on
time,
and the Wildcats are advertising a finish time of 2 p.m. on Saturday. So that's 12, 13 rounds of picks in 5 hours.
Something like that.
Yeah,
5 or 6 hours.
Yeah, and again, there's no pomp and pomp and ceremony on that. It's table analysis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kid goes to the table, gets a photo, away they go. So
it's once the live drafts come back after the year we do not speak of, a lot of people are like, oh, it's too much, go to the virtual, blah blah blah, and I was like, no, we need to have NFL style, like 2 nights. Night 1 be for round 1. Saturday, just send the team representatives, a couple of them, have the GMs back in the quote-unquote war room. So I was basing it off the NFL, which Rich Eisen and that crew does an unbelievable job for the 3 days that they do it, 4 days. What goes into prepping as the host? Because I'm assuming you don't have all the information, all the prospects. You let your guys do that, because I know I do that with Jeremy. I just get the order and he fills in the prospects. But just kind of take us into what the prep is for a host for maybe round 1 and round 2, like knowing what the teams have and so forth.
I know right now it's looking at depth charts with teams, taking a look at the 20 situation, taking a look at what some teams have in the cupboards, and especially those last cuts from training camp and those call-ups, those kids that are looking to be part of the future for Q teams, and trying to find holes, trying to find team needs, taking a look at where some teams finished last year. And again, the tough part about it is the moment that they press the button and a lot of trades get made, a lot of that prep goes out the window. The other thing is really just taking a look at draft guides from around. There's a lot of good scouting services that are putting their information out there.
Mm-hmm.
Having those at the ready and really trying to get yourself into a good knowledge of these kids. I know Greg and I know Craig have been they are going to be very in depth on these players. They're going to know these kids. They're going to know where it goes. My job again is to have a good bit of knowledge on everybody, know where what teams are thinking about, talking to teams and talking to coaches to have just a general feel of them for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just playing a lot of point guard and making sure that our production moves smoothly as well. So that's it is very tough to prep for, as we're saying, tough to prep for 12 hours of live TV. But again, it is the big open book oral exam.
Yeah, I was nervous last year when we were going to go live, and I only had to do one round. I was just like, I got to know a little bit about these kids before I pass it off to Jeremy.
Oh yeah. And again, we're it's no secret. We've got our notes and we've got our prep in front of us. And as I say, it's an open book oral exam. So when I need to look up something, when I need to become more familiar with a kid,
yep.
The internet's a wonderful thing. If the Wi-Fi goes down to the Avenir Center, we might have an issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys won't be the only one with an issue.
Yeah.
Obviously, doing what you do, you had the opportunity to cover, some U18 action in Nova Scotia this year. Other than Aid McDonald, who decided to take his talents to the telephone city and join the Brantford Bulldogs. I guess who else caught your eye in Nova Scotia?
Well, I mean, again, we're watching Ice Jam, we're watching the playoffs, and keeping an eye on our regular season coverage. For me to pull names out of my hat right now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull out names out of my hat right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a shame to hear Aidan O'Donnell is going to the O, but again, we get it. It's his dad played there. That's where he wants to go. So we'll see what happens with him. I mean, for us, again, we're looking at the Max had so many good kids this year. Like you have Daniel Walters. We had Aaron Chip, Angus Proctor. Like there's a lot of names there as well. Max Hanley out of Valley really his stock went up through the playoffs and also just through those tournaments as well. The Ice Jam, the Monctonian. So but there's also those kids that have gone away that we haven't seen from Nova Scotia that are playing away, and we get to find out all about them as well. But that Max team, I think we'll hear a couple Halifax Max be called for sure, because that'll be fun. The Bachelor kid from PEI, I'm excited to see where he goes as well. Big defenseman. So we'll see where he ends up in this draft too.
So obviously, I mean, we're going there to cover it / be fans of a team. You're going there to kind of cover it, but what do you see as in this division? Like, I know last year when we had you on, you had to do a lot of prep for Chicoutimi because they had 4 picks this year. I mean, Bathurst seems to have, I think, 8 or 9 in the first round or something silly like that, it seems. I mean, just in this division, what are you kind of most excited to or most intriguing for you coming into these 2 days here in Moncton?
I'm intrigued to see what Cape Breton does, especially with, once they won the lottery. And again, I know it's moving, and there's some rumors that they're looking to move down even more. So, I mean, I don't think they're done their moves out of winning the draft lottery quite yet. I am very interested to see the fate of the Halifax Mooseheads, because all the rumors swirling about, I guess, the stockpile that's being allowed. I know that the Moose don't have many picks there. We'll see what are the returns for the Halifax Mooseheads after their moves that they make at the draft, and we'll see where they end up on the draft board. Again, it sounds like they are going to restart the wheel on that. And also, again, we talked about Gardner. I mean, for them, I know you guys, Moncton looks tremendous going into next year. Yeah. I'm interested to see where they go in this opening round, and what they add to complement the team that they have currently on the ice. I mean, for St. John and Charlottetown, it's still kind of, they're still in the downswing from going for it. I don't think Charlottetown's picking until the 50s, and I'm not, again, St. John, I'm drawing a blank as to where they are at in the first couple rounds, but again, they've got their pieces right now. We'll see what they can add to it.
I think St. John's. They've got 2 in the top 10. I think they've got 5 and 8, and I think as of right now, those are probably the only picks in the top 10 that aren't being talked about or confirmed to be traded right now. So it appears Anthony Stella is kind of happy with what he's got, and he clearly thinks the guys he wants are still available. I guess your overall, if you were to pick someone who you think will go first overall, obviously I think there's Maddox Dagenau that people are saying will be first overall. What's your prediction on the Tynan Lawrence situation?
It's tough because, again, he's a Shattuck St. Mary's kid from Fredericton. Like, does he... Everything is so weird now because you're playing that NCAA card there's going to be a lot more weight on that due to the NIL. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to be, if there could be a pot of money waiting for you if you do wait out to get to find a way to the NCAA. I don't know where. I don't know who's going to take a flyer on him, but and not really a flyer. Who's going to be the one to convince him? Hey, we have a spot for you in the queue, and if you're willing to report, we're willing to pick you. Mm-hmm. He's certainly got all the tools, man, and he's got a big 6-foot left shot. See what happens with that pick, but again, there's guys that have gone to Shattuck that have had a lot of success in the queue from around these parts, so never count it out.
Yeah, well, you know what, Mavs? We're just excited to have you in our barn again at the draft. I know that last year we were hoping you were going to be in Sherbrooke for our live media roundtable, and you were crushed, we were crushed, and we were just we're pumped to have you back in the Avenir Center. I know you got a lot of prep to get going, so we don't want to keep you too long. So again, thanks for joining us again tonight. And hey, if you need some people on day 2 to talk to, we are available.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to throw you guys are going to find Troy Langstaff, and we're going to have you guys on for sure.
Yeah, perfect. We appreciate that. And you know what, Matt? Safe travels out here, and we'll see you on Friday.
Yeah, we're going to see you. We'll see you up there. We're setting up Thursday, and away it goes from there.
Sounds good, buddy. You have a good night.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. It is mock draft time, which is what everybody has been waiting for. And again, we welcome in Austin Robson of Puck Preps as we are now 48 hours away from round 1 on Friday night. So we are here, settle in for 14-round mock draft.
That was not the plan.
No. We're only doing a round 1 mock draft, of course. We've been doing this for about 5 years. Jeremy and I usually done it. We did it with Johnny Rocket. We have now Austin Robson joining us from Puck Preps. I guess just how are things going in there in the scouting world? And you got all your boards set, ready to go? And how are things?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. Thanks for having me back on. I actually just finished my rankings yesterday, so they're locked in, ready to go. Should be back on the site tomorrow, I think, out with an article and all that. And in terms of just scouting, I just watched my last game yesterday. I'm officially done watching hockey.
Oh, geez.
Nothing else I can learn. I don't really care anymore, so it's I'll wait till Friday. I need a nap, boys.
Yeah.
Your work is done. Are you hitching a ride to Moncton? Will you be in Moncton for the draft?
Yeah, I will be. I have a flight at 8 o'clock on Thursday night, so I'll be there Friday all day. I'm staying till Sunday.
All right, so we'll take the pen. We'll book you in for some interview as we go on day 2. If you're up for it, some live technology style infos or interviews there. All right, so we've had some rumored movement in the top 5, so we're gonna kind of go with that on this mock draft because there's no point putting Cape Breton at 1 and then we find out when this comes out they're not anywhere close to 1. So you are on the board, Austin. You have the Quebec Remparts who have moved up from 4 to 1. So you were on the board with Quebec.
Sounds good. Okay, well, I remember I asked you guys if it was what we would do or if what it was the team was doing, and because I'm kind of torn because I wouldn't do what I know what Quebec is about to do, and that's take Maddox Desjardins at number 1, but that's what I'm going to do because for the sake of reality. So I'm taking Desjardins at 1. He's a 6'3", 180-pound center playing out of Quint this year. I think he put up 83 points in 35 games or something, just absolutely dominated the Ontario League. In terms of like offensive upside, I can definitely see why they would take him at 1. I think he just has some holes in his game that he has to round out. I don't think he's like a Caleb Denboyer who steps into the league right away, puts up like a point per game or anything. But I think by the time he's 18, 19, you will have your first line center there. So not a bad pick, just not what I would do, but I'll go with Desjardins at 1.
Yeah, it feels like that's the reason they moved up to 1 is they knew they could maybe get that commitment from him. So some of the rumors now, we believe Val-d'Or is moving some picks to get Anton Barreau. So it gives Ren number 2 is what we believe. So Jeremy, you are on the clock with the Ren Huskies.
Yeah, so that one, number 2, hasn't really been talked about as much as some of the other picks or trades that have been happening. So I don't know if it's actually going to be Ruan Aranda, but regardless of who it is, whether it's Val-d'Or or Ruan Aranda, you can't go wrong with right shot defensemen. But again, before I make my pick, obviously I'd like to thank the wonderful people of Moncton for their hospitality.
I forgot to do that.
I'd also like to congratulate their Drummondville Voltigeurs on their Gilles Courteau trophy. And with the second pick in the 2024 Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League draft, either the 4 or the Huskies select defenseman Benjamin Cassette-Ayotte.
Well done.
There you go.
Yeah. That's a pick. Yeah, that's a pick.
I just know that from what I've seen is he's probably one of the toughest guys to play against in the defensive side. He's a pretty physical guy, and you can't go wrong with right shot defenseman.
6 foot 160, 6 foot 165 right shot defenseman seems like a good pick. So obviously Val-d'Or had 2 and 3 going into this. By the time you hear this may have changed. So we're again going off rumors. We have Shawinigan being part of these rumors to move up. So they are the pick number 3. So Austin, you are on the board with Shawinigan Cataract.
Yeah, and I've run to the stage because I get to pick who I think is the second best player in the draft and the best player who I think is going to actually commit to a Q team, and that is Chad Liggett-Stakos from Trois-Rivières. I think he's adding him to one of the youngest teams in the league. You know, he gets a chance to play with like Cole Chandler, Olivier Grew is a player too I like quite a bit, and just over the course of the year, I think he had like the steepest development curve from day one to the end. In the Cube Cup, I thought he was the best forward. At the cross-border challenge, I thought he was the best player there. He's been dominant since February, I think, and it's just I think at 3 you're not going to get a lot more value than that. I know he's 5'7", but frankly, I just don't care. So Liggett Sacco's at 3.
Yeah, and it's kind of a hometown pick too for
Exactly.
Shawinigan, where played for Trois-Rivières, and I'm not sure if he's from Shawinigan or not, but Trois-Rivières is only a half an hour from Shawinigan, so that's an obvious pick. If I was Shawinigan, that's my pick as well. I think it's pretty obvious that's why they want to get that third pick is to take Liggett Sacco's.
I would hope so.
I'm on board with you on that one.
All right, so Jeremy's on the board. He gets to put his Sylvain Couturier cap
That's right,
on.
Yeah.
Before you make the pick, do you think they have this pick?
I really don't think they do. I think K. Breton's building for something special here this year,
Yeah.
or they're hoping to build for something special. If they do, if there's any area of their team where they might want to focus a little more, it's tough to say. Who are they losing this year?
Sabolka. Couple forwards.
Yeah, this one's up in the air for me. I really don't think they have it. But if they do, I'll go with forward Jaden Plouffe.
Nice.
Yeah,
So you will...
small forward. I know he's not. Where is he on you? He's kind of in the tens, right? I believe.
I have Plouffe at 11, but I've had him as high as forward 3. It's just his last couple of bunts were a bit underwhelming. But like I said, anyone from 3 to 10 or 11, I would be open to talking about. It's that wide open of a draft, so I can totally see this happening.
And to round up the top 5 before I ask my question to both of you, St. John is on the board, so we stay in the Maritime Division. So Austin, you are on the board with St. John.
Amazing.
Boo! Boo!
Yeah. I'll pick a bad player. Don't worry about it. I'll pick the worst player I can find. So the Sea Dogs are looking at a full rebuild. I was checking out their roster today, and their decor looks promising with guys like Amiot and Duhamel, but they lack that offensive piece on the back end. So I'm going to go with Alexander Tyfair from the Lions. I think he has the potential to be a first-line defender or first-pair defender, the next level, front of power play and all that. He's a bit slight right now. I think he's 140 pounds. So that first year might be a bit of a learning curve, but in terms of ceiling, I don't think there's a defender that's better than him.
So as we round out the top 5, a lot of movement in that top 5. St. John is the only pick to not move or not be rumored to move at this point, and by the time you hear this, that could change. Is that a product of the draft not having a consensus couple players at the top? There could be so much, you guys have your 5, other mock drafts could have a completely different 5. Is that why you guys think that there's so much movement in this top 5? Jeremy, you can go first.
Well, I just think there's the top up top of the draft. There's a lot of guys who are leading towards, the NCAA or the Q. So I think these teams are moving into the top 5 because they know they can get the guy they want. Without having to possibly wait to see if it's still available when they come up to the mic. So for me, I just think it's these teams. At the end of the day, it's not a very. I think Austin, you'll agree with me. It's not a very deep draft.
Right.
So at the same time, first round picks are always coveted. Doesn't matter what year it is.
Yep.
They're going to be impact players. And for the sake of this, going back to the Shawinigan pick at 3. It's logical. It's a local kid. He's easily going to play for them. And Shawinigan's just playing it smart because he's probably not going to make it to when they pick later on in the first round. So they're just using their assets to go get the guy they want.
What about you, Austin?
Yeah, I think Jeremy's pretty bang on about that. Obviously, the Ramparts think there's a consensus 1 because they traded the farm for Desjardins. I wouldn't agree, but teams trading down, I think, is a sign that there's no consensus top 5 even. There's no guy you really want. And But yeah, like Jeremy said, we should win again. That there's like teams that have their guy, right? So they'll trade up. But I think teams trading down definitely have the right idea here.
All right, and so we get into number 6. Shikutami looks to be moving up from 7 to 6 as part of a Valdor Victo trade. So Jeremy gets to put his Richie Tebow / Yannick Jean hat on and make the pick to Shikutami, who again added 4 superstars last year in terms of building to be really good this year. So what do you got at 6?
Yeah, so at 6, I'm going to take a forward. Big forward out of Seminaire Saint-François, the lettuce man, Romain L'Italien.
One of my favorite names when you translate the Q site to Romain Little Italian.
Little Italian lettuce man.
Yeah, I found that out when I was looking at, history of Game 7. I was like, Little Italian. I'm like, that's an odd. Oh, that's probably, got it. All right, that makes sense. All right, so that deal, as Shikutami moves up to 6, Victo moves to 7, in the way of these trades that we're kind of piecing together from all Quebec media. We have no idea if this is how this is going to fall. So Victo in a bit of a rebuild. They've got the goaltender. They've got some pieces there. So who are you going to add to the Tigra?
Yeah, so I forgot that there was a trade. So I had Shikutami here at 7, taking L'Italien, so I got to reconfigure now. But yeah, so if Victoriaville doesn't get L'Italien at 6, I think they go William Yard at 7. He's not as skilled as like a L'Italien, but he's a more well-rounded center. I think the transition to junior hockey is going to be a lot easier for him. He just like has it all: the 200-foot game, the vision, the puck protection. Like he's, I think, a future number 1 center in the league. I don't think the production is going to be like anything insane, but he's going to play everywhere. Power play, penalty kill. So take Yard, William Yard.
Nice.
All right, Boucher, you're on the clock for the Sea Dogs.
On the clock for the Sea Dogs.
They already added Alexander Telefor at 5, so you're on the board with them.
Yeah, so logically. I want to get back to that St. John pick, because I remember when St. John hosted the draft in whatever year Pelche was picked.
2017.
2017. I remember Mr. Irving going up to the microphone and saying, and a big shout out to the greatest hockey fans in the queue, the Moncton Wildcats fans. So makes me wonder if Stella or Trevor Georgie remembers that, and he's going to say something similar.
And if they don't, hearing this, they will.
They will absolutely go find footage of that and make up their own script. But I think I'll follow with I think I'll go with back-to-back Lac Saint Louis boys here, and to the St. John Sea Dogs, Dylan Rossi.
Will that Rossi report to a Maritime team this time?
Yeah, that's something to think about.
Yeah, we were saddened. The other one didn't report to us. So we stay in New Brunswick, and we go up to the North Shore. So Johnny Rocket will pay attention to this one. So I don't know if you've ever met him, but when you're here at the draft, you will have the pleasure of meeting him.
I definitely will, yeah.
Yeah. You were on the board at 9 for the T-Town.
Okay, well, again, I had them taking Rossi, so I have to go back to my list.
Sniping ya.
Jeremy's taking all my players so far. It's getting ridiculous.
This is just like the real draft board. You got to pivot.
This is how you play the game.
But for Titan are one of the youngest teams too in the league. They've stockpiled a bunch of picks, so I'm going to go best player available off my board, and that'll be Thomas Brousseau from St. Eustache. He's a winger, but I think he could play center too. He's just that like smart, skilled. I've bumped him up all year. He ended up at 5 on my list. I think they get great value here with Rousseau.
All right, Boucher, you're back on the board. You took the lettuce man at 6 is L'Italien. So the Shikutami, the pick number 10. What do you got?
Well, pick number 10, Shikutami.
Again, if they have this, they've been known to move up and down the board.
Yeah, if they have it. They took if I took a forward with them last time, will they go and add another forward, or will they go with a defenseman? This, I think, they've got enough picks in the first round to maybe take a risk with this one.
Mhm.
But if I took a forward with their first pick, I'll take a D with their second pick. I'll go from Bishop's Kearney selects Cameron Chartrand.
Wow.
Have him and Alex Wong on the back end as right shot defenseman would be quite the offensive prowess.
That'd be something, yeah.
That would be a dangerous back end for many, many years to come.
Yeah.
I've heard it's 50-50 right now whether he shows up. He's gone to like all the events, like the combine and stuff, but I
That shows
heard he's
interest,
he's listening to some offers from BCHL and whatnot.
So it's risky. If he doesn't come, they get a compensation pick next year, and
Yeah, I don't hate it.
that's it.
5th player on the board according to the CSR list,
Yep.
so he was the best player available
And
so far.
They go
That's
and
on
get
the
him
board.
one
Yeah.
pick before the Memorial Cup hosts.
That's exciting. So yeah, if you're just joining us, A, what have you been doing? And B, to recap the top 10, Quebec moves up to the number 1 spot. They take Maddox Desjardins. Rennes takes Benjamin Cossette, I believe. Oh yeah,
Shit,
that's it. Yep. Shawinigan takes Chad
Lichitsakos.
Cape Breton takes Jaden Plouffe. Got that one. St. John takes Alexander Telefor. Sags take Roman L'Italien. Victoriaville, William Yard. St. John, Dylan Rossi. And Bathurst takes Thomas Rousseau. And the Chicoutimi rounds out the top 10 with Cameron Chartar. So you are pick 11, the Memorial Cup hosts, if they have it, because they can
Which
move
they
to
probably won't.
They probably won't because they're going to be adding some players here. But if they do, I'll give you a bonus point if it's a different team in the same name. But what do you have for Mooski at 11?
Yeah, I expected them to trade it, but like I said, we can't really predict the future. So I think if they do take this pick, I think it'd be wise to take someone who can slide into your bottom 6 right away, make an impact, plays a heavy game. That is Ryan Howard from the Lac St. Louis Appliance. He's a physical north-south player, good forward checker, some skill. I think he steps in right away, but plays like a 4th line, 3rd line role. So yeah, Ryan Howard.
All right, Jeremy,
I just pulled up my mock draft on my phone, and this was one I did 2 weeks ago. I have Rimouski at 11 taking Ryan Howard, so we're on the same page. Yeah.
There we
at
go.
the same time, are they gonna have this pick as Memorial Cup hosts? Probably not. This will likely belong to Halifax for Cataford, Drummondville potentially as well.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
So you get a half point if the name is the spot 11, but it's a different team, just so you know how this point system works. That doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
All right, so we've got Jeremy at first of 2 for Gatineau. You're on the board at pick number 12. So where are you leaning here with pick 12?
I'm going with a forward who had a very, very, very good QMJHL Cup. One of my favorite names in the draft, Enzo Lawton.
Enzo. Where's he ranked?
He is 19.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Lawton.
Yeah.
That's on
CSR, yeah. That's
yeah.
I got the CSR.
So I was like, I think I have him at 10.
You have him at 10. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I got my laptop with the CSR just because I'm writing the names down, so it's
It's a lot better. So.
Yeah. So Sherbrooke is on the board with the pick they got from us last year in the Sean Carrier deal. So you were on the board with the Phoenix.
That's awesome because I had taken Enzo Lawton. So this is ridiculous, man.
Okay,
Jeremy hacked
so
me
here's
or
the
something.
key. You have to go second in the mock drafts. Like this is your first time on the show. I learned many years ago you have to go second because if you go first, Jeremy ends up getting the snipes with the even numbers. But
getting the scraps, yeah. Look at this guy go.
Yeah, he's got it.
Okay, well, thinking on my feet here, I'm gonna go who I think would fit in pretty well alongside Louis Alex Tremblay on the blue line. I'm gonna take Biagio Jr. D'Angeli, the defenseman out of Laval, Montreal. Probably the best skating defenseman in the draft. The offense isn't there yet, but it's a work in progress. But he's gonna thrive in like transition. I think like moving pucks up and all that. So yeah, Daniele.
Nice. I actually, if I would have had this pick I would have been going off the board a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a kid by the name of Liam Dubé, who was playing over in Switzerland in their U17 league. His dad, Christian Dubé, played in the NHL, but he also played for Sherbrooke.
Oh, okay.
In the queue. So there's a Sherbrooke connection there. It's not necessarily off the board. I don't see him on your list probably because of a just lack of viewing, right? I'm assuming.
He's there. He's at 30, I think, 30 or 29.
Oh yes, okay, sorry, yeah, 29. I see him now. Yeah, okay, there you go.
29, yeah.
He's
there.
30
on CSR list.
30 on CSR. So I think there's Sherbrooke. I think likes him, and there's the family connection there. I think that's probably logically who I think they're going to take.
Here, when you said off the board, I thought he was going to be like far off the board. And I was going to be like, we think that GMs around the league listen to our mock drafts, but if they do, they're probably like, shut up. Shut up. Kind of out of left field. So, Mr. Boucher, you were on the board. 14 again, Gatineau. They've added Enzo Latin.
Enzo Latin. So I guess, again.
Now, the phone's ringing, Jeremy.
The phone is ringing.
The phone is ringing.
Yeah.
McDougall Magic is on the phone.
The Moncton Wildcats are calling.
They want to get back into the first round.
Yep.
They know that Gatineau's had 2 picks.
Yep.
Is there a player here they would call to get up into that first round to make a splash with a home draft round 1 primetime?
Well, Adam, it's funny you mentioned that. Let's see who's left on the board here.
Should we put? We're going to put the board at 14. We're going to put this trade in.
Yeah, we're gonna.
We have a trade to announce.
We're doing this live on the podcast.
We never do trades, but we're going to live guess a trade here.
But you know what? I see where you're coming, and I'm on board with it.
Yeah, well, it was your
and
theory.
Mr. Robert Irving and the fine folks at the Wildcats organization will step up to the mic and steal the show and select from Shattuck St. Mary's, Tynan Lawrence.
I'm freaking out.
So you'll know that this trade happens. And this is happening if Mr. Irving is at the draft table.
That is correct.
For the first round.
That is a good indication, folks. If you see Mr. Irving at the Wildcats draft table, they are doing something.
Yeah, and we know this because last year he was there for pick 1, he was there for pick 6,
and then he was out.
We watched him walk right by us, and we're like, well, they're going to trade that 18th pick, so they're done. So that's kind of how that works. There's a ton of rumors floating around that Moncton's going to get back into the first round. I don't know if you think that's a possibility, Austin, in terms of not only Moncton getting into the draft, but selecting Tynan Lawrence, who has the connection with the McDougalls. He's a player that might not report, so they can afford to work their magic. But I think when Jeremy and I were talking about the rumors of getting into the first round, to me, Gatineau, he had the player. I had the spot in that 12 to 14 because Gatineau has 2 picks right there that you can get in. But do you see something like that going down?
I actually never thought about it until you guys just did it. But if they do that, I think the only player you do that for is Tynan. You don't do that for anybody else that I can see anyway. So yeah, but if you do it and he reports, that's genius. That's but it's a big if for sure. There's just no one else that I would really do that for except him.
Yeah, that's kind of, there's a player, a defenseman for the Flyers in Gucci, but I don't know if you moved to 14 to get him because you just don't have a spot for him. Like it's tough to put him on that back end. So I hope we didn't snipe your pick at 15 together as you're on the board, as Valdor's moved from 2 and 3 down to 7 and down to 15 eventually. So you're on the board with Valdor here.
Okay, so I'm taking a big reach here because after they took Jordan LaBelle last year, I get the inkling that they like to hit on big and intriguing prospects. So I'm going to go with defenseman Michel Milosrdny.
Nice. Oh, he's a monster.
6'6", 200 pound defenseman. He's got some offensive instincts too. He's very raw right now. I think he needs at least a year or two away from the queue to base to hit. But when he gets there, he could be good. Just not right now. I think I have him at 45 or something, just based off the risk factor. But
yeah, for sure. No, I actually on
that's a big boy.
The one I wrote down myself, I have him at. I think I had him in my first round, but I made some changes last week. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I made some changes, but I did have him in my first round. But I made some changes there recently, so he was kind of in that same area. I think I actually had him to Bathurst at 18, so he was in my first round just because I heard the same thing. He's of size, but the project as people like to say these days, right? So
I think he goes in the first round. Just not sure where.
I like the name with the classic double Y.
Double Y.
To end it.
It's so sick. I love it.
Off. So Quebec is back on the board. They took Maddox Desjardins first overall with a trade from Cape Breton. So, Mr. Boucher, you were on the board with Quebec at 16.
Yes. So the Quebec Rempart, obviously looking to not necessarily make a splash, but get some impact players right away. So I will go with a player who played away. I'm just trying to see where he was. We're at here, but I'm going to go with forward Tristan Venn.
Oh yeah,
Played in Halton, Ontario.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, pick number 16 for the Rempart.
All right. That's exciting. What is he?
Actually,
I like him. Actually,
yeah, you guys have him ranked pretty high, right?
Yeah, I think I had him like 14 or 15 or something. So that's right around where I would take him.
29 on the CSR list. And for those following along, you can just go to the Q site, go to the draft, click over. You'll see the CSR list there, and then you can print your own list and keep track at the draft in round 1. So, Austin, you were on the board at 17 with Shawinigan. They took Listacos, 3rd overall.
Yeah.
So you were on the board with them at 17.
So after taking a forward for the Cataracts, I'm going to go defense here from Levy Brandon Delarobil. Smooth skating, puck moving defenseman, a bit undersized, but he makes up for it in like a ton of ways. I wouldn't be surprised if he cracks a team right away, but he might need like half a year away before he comes over after the holidays. But yeah, really good. The point production wasn't there, but I think he's got some like untapped offense too in him for sure.
Mr. Boucher, you're on the board at 18 now, the final pick of what would be the first round, except for those two non-reports with Blainville and Gatineau at 19 and 20. Bathurst at 9 took Thomas Rousseau. Again, team that wants to get better. I'm not sure if they have this pick because teams want to get into that first round late in the draft. But what do you have at 18 for Bathurst? And we know Johnny Rocket is listening.
Yeah, so I think we're going to make the Moncton crowd a little excited with this pick. Local boy from the Flyers, Jacob Gucci.
There it is.
That makes sense, yeah. I like that too.
Not many defensemen his size that can fly like him.
No,
exactly.
Yeah.
No, and I don't know about that Macedoni kid, but if with his size, is he the type of player like Gucci? I know Gucci, like I've seen him a few times. He's big, but he uses his size well in gap control and smooth skater. How do you compare him to? I'm just gonna call him Michael at 6'6", 203. How do you
call
compare?
him 6'6", yeah.
How do you compare those two players in terms of skill here?
Gucci is definitely more advanced in terms of like his rush defending and like gapping up and whatnot for sure. Like I think Gucci has the chance to step in next year and play like a bottom role. Unlike any team really. With Michelle, it's more of like what you could be. With Gucci, it's like what he is right now. Like there's very little risk to picking Gucci. So it's a bit of like two different worlds, right? Like, are you willing to take the risk, or you just want someone who's gonna play but might not be as special?
Right. All right. So you were on the board, 19, Blainville. So everything I've been told, Gucci and Batchelder are 1-2. So you have to pick Batchelder. No, but I was told that early on that they were kind of in New Brunswick. They were kind of the top two defensemen that were gonna kind of go beside each other, or around each other. So, but obviously the Armada are here, and this I guess needs to be kind of an impact player as of right now. When we do this on Monday, they may have more picks, but they have this pick, and then they don't pick again till the 5th round. in this draft. So where does Blainville go with their first round pick?
I'm gonna go with a personal favorite of mine, Benjamin Olivier from Charlemagne. I think at 5'8", 156, he might slide a bit because he's a bit undersized, and I think he strictly played center this year, so teams might overlook him, but he's definitely one of the more skilled and quick players in the draft, so I think that they'd be shrewd to take him. I don't think this happens, but it's the last pick, so I'm being a bit selfish here. I'll take Olivier.
Go get your guy on your draft board. And Jeremy, you finished this thing out. Gatineau's third pick of the first round. How do we end this thing on Friday night?
So we end this thing on Friday night with a defenseman from Collège Charles Lemoine. It is J.S. Daigneault, Jean-Samuel Daigneault. And that concludes the first round of the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League draft. Please join us again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for rounds 2 through 14.
Yeah.
9 a.m. Huh? That's brutal. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no.
Hashtag team no sleep.
Yeah, I know. God.
And if you really don't want sleep, you can just pop up to find us and jump on our live as we get everyone set for Moncton's second round and or talking about Tyler and Lauren. So obviously the mock draft is in the books. How do you guys feel about this mock draft? And if this, in a perfect world, these are the players in round one, how do you feel about round one as a whole?
I think it looks pretty good. I think there's a couple other guys that could have probably snuck in there. Louis-Félix Gagnon from the Blizzard could have got in there. Other than that, I don't think we got Gucci in the first round. We got De La Roseville in the first round. We got Lawton in the first round. There's a kid from Northern Moose, Zach Savoie, who's probably the highest ranked Northern Moose player that I can remember, or that there's ever been. Right, so it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. Bathurst has multiple picks in the first round. Do they try to get a local kid into their rink? There's lots of question marks, but overall, I think we did pretty good. We looked after some team needs and made a few surprises.
Yep. Austin, your thoughts on your draft in terms of who you were taking in the first round as a whole, and maybe who's best available for round two?
All right. I think the draft here really starts at 5, just from what I'm hearing. I think we nailed the top 4. I know it's not going to go that way, just based off what I'm hearing. It's going to be Desjardins, Benjamin. 3 is Chad, and then 4 is Cliff. I think that's spot on, but I think it really starts with St. John. Do they deal it? Do they keep it? Who do they take? I don't think Tyfair was more of a personal favorite, so I'm very excited to see where they go with that. In terms of best available for round 2, I really like Nico Okori from St. Hyacinthe. He's a really skilled forward. He's on the worst team in the league, so at times I think I did overlook him because he was struggling, but then he came to the Q Cup and really dominated. So I think if you're looking for a pick in the early second, he's your guy for sure.
All right, man. Well, 48 hours from now, we will see how many picks you guys have nailed. The bar is set quite low with the way that I've drafted in previous years. We've hit the names, just not quite in the order. So obviously excited to meet you. Thanks again for jumping on the mock draft, and safe travels out to Moncton this Thursday.
Sounds good, man. Can't wait.
Thank you.
Well, that was fun. Again, we don't usually do trades, but with the amount of rumors and kind of confirmed unofficial stuff that was coming out, it was too silly not to have that top 4 be changed around. But to add Moncton in the first round, and you brought up the name, I brought up the spot in some of the rumors that we had heard. It's so logical. It almost feels like it's not going to happen.
Well, you know what? It's we might release this on Wednesday, and then get a message saying, please cut that from your episode immediately.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like this is just our opinion, right? This is why we're unofficial.
This is us just putting things together.
We
you know
have
that,
zero
You know that
information.
meme where the guy's like,
yeah. We have zero information.
yeah.
Right. We're just going off what we think could potentially happen. And, you know, this if that were to happen, this is Taylor's first trade that he pulls off.
Yeah.
Right.
I was waiting for a song lyric or a title there where you're like, this is Taylor's first. And again, it'll depend on the return on what it is and how fans view this. But we'd love them to get in the first round. We tried to be realistic where we're like, they move up to second overall to take this guy because you can't do that. We have to try and go the best we can. But overall, I know I asked you before, but do you see a lot of movement other than the four that we kind of know on the actual draft floor? Do you see a lot of movement in this? I know Mavs said it was going the over 2.5 hours, but do you see a lot of movement in this first round with, as you said, a bit of a weaker draft class?
Just based on, you know, conversations and Twitter leaks right now, we're in for a long night.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of, as Mavs called it, timeout music, transaction music. So it will be interesting to see which teams, you know, come out of here with multiple picks. There's no goalies that are worthy of being picked in the first round, so it's going to be flooded with defensemen and forwards. And you know, I'm the kind of guy that if you pick a forward with your first pick, you should take a defenseman with your second pick. You know, that's my approach as a as a mock draft guy. But a lot of these teams follow their boards, and you know, if you took a forward at 3 and you know you're up again at 13 and the best player available on your board is a forward, you're going to take forward.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, you need more forwards on your team than you need defensemen.
Yep.
So it all depends on, you know, the approach and who these teams like. Because like Austin nailed it. It starts at St. John.
Yep.
I'm pretty confident like you said, we have the top 4 picks right. I am fairly confident in that. Whether it's in order or a few mixed around, those are the first 4 that'll go off the board. Yeah. He had St. John's pick. If I'm St. John, I probably take Yared or from Lac Saint Louis, and at 8 I take Cameron Chartrand because you have 2 NCAA guys that will easily commit to St. John because they've had a history of taking NCAA guys. Yeah. So it's he's right when he says the draft starts at 5. The draft starts at 8. But the show starts at pick 5.
Yeah. Yep. And we have made it. So round 1 kicks off Friday, 8 p.m. Atlantic time. Don't forget, it is a free event. Come down. Lots of free parking.
Speaking of free, Saturday morning.
I was getting there.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you had it written down or not there, but I just wanted to make sure that we had it covered.
Yeah, no.
So that's
I
good.
will let you get to that in just one moment. So Friday, outdoor activities start at 4 in the plaza. And again, you can get in at General Public Commission. Starts at 7. The show starts at 8. If you are on your way down there or you're listening at work, you know who you can listen to? Us. On Q103. We will be with Brock Gallant from 3:30 to 5. We'll make our radio debut as well, get you set with some spicy rumors that are coming down the pipe. And then Saturday morning, Jeremy, what's happening Saturday morning?
Saturday morning at 8 a.m., there is a... I'm going to turn this here because I kind of forget what it was.
I thought it was on here.
A pancake
breakfast.
A pancake breakfast.
Yep.
Being sponsored by the United Way or compliments of the United Way. I'm not sure exactly the wording of it. But it's at 8 a.m. in the plaza, the Oval, the Ian Fowler Oval. So it is first come, first serve from my understanding.
Yep.
So if you're up earlier on Saturday morning, which I will be, not Adam.
Draft day, I'm up early.
Come on down. It's get some pancakes and have yourself a nice hearty meal before sitting inside the Avenir Center for 6 hours.
Yeah, and don't forget, while it is a free pancake breakfast, they are taking donations.
Yes.
So donate. All the proceeds go to the United Way. And then, next week is our Season 7 finale. We will have a draft recap as well, some of the interviews from the draft as well. And we will see if we can deliver a guest. We usually try to deliver a bigger guest on the season finales and the season premieres. But, this is the best time of year. The rumors kick off. They've already been going, as we talked about in the mock draft, and then it's draft day. We're going to be live either where the Three Sisters section is at the bottom of 119 or up in 108 where the organ is. So no matter where we are near the end of the draft, come by, say hello. We're going to be around all weekend as well. Pop on, say hi. We'll sign autographs, take selfies. Jeremy will bring the sunglasses. But it's a fun event. It's free admission. You can go in and out of the Avenir Center. Let's support this thing and show the kids that are going to be putting on Wildcats jerseys that there's excellent representation from the Fanbirds. Oh, see you next week. Enjoy the draft, and of course, let's go Oilers! Let's go Oilers! For Jeremy, I'm Adam. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.